Welcome back, one and all, to the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2018 season. It's time for round 2 from the streets of Macau and the second of 4 races using the AMG GT3 car. My name is Justin, and joining me once again for today's action, it's Chris.
Hello again, everybody. It is a great pleasure to be back in the commentary box for VGP and alongside my good friend Justin. Here we are at the tight and twisty circuit of Macau, and here are the championship standings as they currently stand. Michael Schmidl, of course, taking a very dominant victory at the lovely circuit of Imola with Polesny and Blazek in short succession in second and third. Honzik, who does not join us, he's actually replaced by a driver for this particular race, and this is how it stands. 12 drivers will race for glory in the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2018 season. While the top 5 drivers from last year had it easy as they had been quickly taken by the customer teams, the rest of the grid had to fight for the final 7 seats. A dedicated qualifying event took place in January and dozens of people took part. But the qualifying didn't throw any surprising results, as most of last year's drivers confirmed their best of the best status and made it through easily. However, they will be joined by 2 rookies for the 2018 season. Peter Dolezal is the #1 rookie. He grabbed the attention by finishing 3rd in the qualifying, beating several regular drivers in the process. No surprise, he was swiftly taken by the Seco Plus company to represent them in the 2018 season. The 31-year-old driver has not the most extensive experience in sim racing, with Virtual GP being his first professional league. However, Dolezal has a lot of valuable real-life racing experience. He's a GT Academy finalist, finishing 5th overall in Europe, alongside being a 2-time Czech Republic champion in Rallycross, a Formula Star finalist, a winner of Czech and Slovak Auto Slalom competition, and much more. In an interview, he said that he's delighted to be in Virtual GP, but he didn't set any goals for himself as he just wants to enjoy the experience. However, some drivers such as Jaroslav Hosnek know him well, and they didn't hesitate to label him as a potential championship contender. Dolezal has managed to show his speed already in the opening round of the season at Imola. He did well in the GT3 car and set the 4th fastest time in qualifying, less than 4 tenths behind Schmidl on pole position. The first lap of the race wasn't as successful though, as he dropped back several places. However, it didn't take long for Dolezal to get into his stride with some brave manoeuvres, and he was back in 4th place right behind Michael Blazek in the Lenovo Legion car. Dolezal continued to apply the pressure to Michael Blazek, putting his Seco Plus car all over Blazek's mirrors, but had to settle for 4th position. Still, an incredible result for the rookie. The second rookie on the grid is Thomas Prohaska, who was returning from a break from sim racing. In the 2018 season, he is driving for one of the world's largest telecommunications companies, Vodafone. The 19-year-old used to do a lot of league racing in the past, but in the last 2 years he took a break from racing on a competitive level. He has decided to return and try his luck in the Virtual GP. Before his break, he gained a lot of experience in multiple series, including endurance races in which he shared a car with his brother. He said that those races helped him to improve his driving style and work on his mentality, which he now wishes to utilise on a professional level. Prohaska expects to struggle in the first part of the season, as he also needs to focus on finishing secondary school and taking his final exams, after which he will be fully focused on Virtual GP and work hard to achieve some respectable results. Prohaska stays realistic though, and he says his main goal is to finish in the top 10 and not finish last. He did reasonably well in this first race as he put the Vodafone car at 11th place in the grid. He made a very good start, which was initially promising, but obviously it's not easy to regain all the consistency after such an extended break. However, he didn't lose that much time and he finished in 11th position overall, finishing only 54 seconds behind the leader. And at the same time, he only lost 12 seconds to a group of cars ahead, which included the reigning Virtual GP champion Martin Stefenko.
I had a terrible setup, that's what it was, because we managed to improve the setup for the second round massively. In the first round, the car was understeery and unstable at the same time. Right now it has very good stability and it has also a very good turn-in. So if you would compare it in F1, it's like going from Sauber to Mercedes. That's how big the jump is. So hopefully I can get back onto the podium and start catching the leaders. Now that I know it's because of the setup, I don't think I really have to change the approach, but I don't really think I need to change anything because I know myself that what I'm doing is right, so I don't think I need to change anything.
So there you heard it from the mouth of Martin Stefanko. He says he doesn't need to change anything, and clearly he doesn't, as he'll start on the front row this time alongside Michael Schmidl, with Polesny in third position. Dolezal, who got the fastest lap last time out, currently fourth in the standings, will start fourth in the race. Sikora in fifth, joined by Hlebets on the third row. Then Blazek in seventh, Prohaska in eighth. And there is the 8 drivers, Kostulik, Lucas, and Regal bringing up the rear as we wait for the race to begin. Here from the streets of Macau, the V8s getting ready to start revving, to start putting out all of that horsepower, all of that torque. Here we go, Macau Virtual GP 2018 is go, and it's a good start, it looks like, for Schmidl and Stefanko. Polesny already coming under attack, actually, from Dolezal, and it looks like Dolezal's already passed, in fact, already up into P3 on the run down towards turn 1. Very close, very narrow this circuit, of course, and the drivers are going to have to be very alert, as Jolyon Palmer would say. Into the first corner they go. Oh, it looks like a bit of contact in the background there, and that is, oh gosh, I'm actually not, that's the Acer. That's the Acer car, the Predator Blue car of Polesny, who's gone for a couple of spins.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, and the Lynx car has been taken out with him. That is Sikora. So Sikora and also Polesny being taken out in that first corner incident, but they are continuing on, Chris, so they're not out of this race just yet, in full course yellow.
A full course yellow indeed. I mean, what a way to start the race. It's narrow at the best of times. Michael Schmidl regaining the lead. He was under a lot of pressure earlier on by Martin Stefanko, the current champion, who I think it's fair to say was struggling around Imola last time around. Still a respectable midfield finish for our champion, but he's now right in the driving seat. Currently sitting in third. There is Blazek in the Legion car. Currently in fourth place. He had a long battle with Thomas Prohaska last time, keeping our rookie, or one of our rookies, in check. Look at this. That's Jan Sikora that's got to try and catch up with the pack as best he can. Of course, under full course yellows, he has to be careful on how quickly he goes. And yeah, Polesny also caught up in that earlier altercation. So trouble then for the Lynx Mercedes. You can see the damage on the car, so he's going to struggle around this very twisty circuit.
Yeah, the benefit, of course, with the full course yellow is that he will be able to catch up, but, I mean, look, the amount of damage we're seeing on that Lynx car is pretty significant. Oh, gosh, and that is oh, not for the faint of heart, that run up into the hairpin. But again, Dolezal, we mentioned that very good start from him, a terrible start for Polesny. That's what got him involved in all of that. He got jumped by Dolezal, but, I mean, Dolezal also jumping Stefanko at the start of this race, so a heck of a start for Dolezal up into P2 as we're coming to the end of the first lap already. But again, full course yellows, so they are going to be held to a speed limit, and I think we're going to see Lucas come into the pits as well as Polesny. I believe we're going to see both of those guys come into the pits, make use of this full course yellow, and then they should be allowed to catch back up as well. So that's the benefit. It's going to be a bit of a wait time while we're waiting for those guys to make it back to the pits. We're on lap 2 now with the lead cars, who are again being controlled. They're not allowed to overtake, obviously. They're being set to a speed limit as well, maximum speed of 100 miles an hour for the guys that are in the pack. And
that's ugly.
Yeah, that's into the pits for Sikora. So, yep, that is Sikora into the pits. Polesny as well into the pits. So it looks like, yeah, those guys are indeed going... Sorry, I said Lucas earlier, but yeah, I meant Sikora. Sikora and Polesny both into the pits after that first lap incident. So they will get a repair, get a fresh set of tires, and they'll be able to continue on and also catch up with the pack. So really, they're not going to lose out too much as a result of all of this.
No, indeed. They've got a fair amount of time to close down, and there is Jan Sikora waiting, probably quite impatiently, for the damage to be fixed. Full course yellow does, of course, continue whilst the repairs are conducted. I would imagine Robin Lucas is quite glad he wasn't caught up in that particular altercation. He span quite spectacularly last time around at Imola, so he is glad that he will not be having to make up lost ground. Jan Sikora now on his way in the Lynx car, some 60 seconds or so, or more, so probably to close down. There is Polesny doing the same, closing the pack down. I imagine it's quite an impatient wait also at the front. They're aware of something going on. Those obviously avoiding the incident knew exactly what happened. This is not what Polesny wanted. A great effort for him last time around, getting him on the podium. This is not how he wanted to have his run around Macau to go. It's the Monaco of China. So therefore, track position is absolutely crucial, and just the track may look wide in sections, and in some sections it is much wider than others, but it's when you get to these very, very narrow, twisty parts that you realise just how much skill is involved in navigating these cars, and they are quite prominent vehicles on this circuit. It takes an amazing amount of skill to keep them going.
Yeah, without question. And this is a good time, I think, while we're waiting for Polesny and Sikora to catch up to the pack, which they are doing pretty quickly, actually, now. There is a permanent yellow flag at the hairpin, at the Melco hairpin, so just so all of our viewers are aware, it's just like real-life Macau. There is a yellow flag at all times at that, so there is no overtaking at that hairpin, and that is for safety reasons in order to prevent incidents before they can start, which I think is the right call on that one. Also, I want to take this opportunity to thank one of our partners, the pitcrewonline.net. They are one of the partners of our English broadcast here, so big thanks to the pitcrewonline.net. And don't forget, guys, we do, of course, have the Driver of the Day votes. Last time out, it was this man right here on your screen, Michael Schmidl, who won the opening round at Imola, and he was your Driver of the Day as well. And once again, there is a prediction game competition that's going on as well, so make sure you guys check out all of that stuff on our website. Polesny, it looks like, is getting pretty close. It's about a 15-second gap to Kostulik up ahead in P9. Sikora not quite catching up to Polesny, but of course Polesny is pushing to catch up to the rest of the pack. And you can see the guys swerving around, making use of this time, trying to keep those tires warm without wearing them out too much. I mean, it was easily a zero-stop race last time out at Imola, and especially with this long full-course yellow, I would expect the same sort of thing, Chris.
Absolutely, I'm sure Michael's Middle will be quite happy for the full course yellow to remain the way it is. But of course, that's not going to be the case. We will get back underway once Yancey.
Some nice stats there about Schmidl on the right. Good, some statistics about how many poles and races he's had. I love seeing that stuff on screen.
Absolutely, and obviously looking to further bolster his impressive stats already, and remains in the driving seats. For those amongst you that have noticed, we only have 11 cars with us. We do not have Peter Zubek in the Avast car. He's not able to join us this time. And we do also have a replacement for Yaroslav Hosnik, rather. Pavel Riegel. He is replacing him, as unfortunately Yaroslav was not very well when this race occurred, so he's replacement. What a time to stand in.
Right.
I'm sure he would have preferred a little bit more of a gentler break into this particular league than around Macau, but that's the way.
Maybe Imola?
Yeah, I'm sure he would have preferred Imola, but that's the way the beast is, and currently sits in 8th position, obviously taking advantage of the first lap altercations going on. Now here is the Malco chicane. As we were just seeing that, they have to go very, very wide to be able to make the turn into the Melco chicane, and what they don't want, because it's so narrow at the point that they go and pass the apex, they did not want people trying to throw it on the inside and gain positions. So quite wisely, for safety reasons, that is under a full course yellow permanent a yellow flag permanently to prevent such incidents going on. So it just is not wide enough on the exit of that particular turn for that to occur.
And there is the information for Kostulik in P9. Last time he qualified 10th, finished in 7th. Yeah, I remember it was a strong race for Kostulik last time out. Again, he was a little bit further back in the 2017 season, but he's looking much stronger this season, much more on the pace and competitive as well, of course. With that 7th place, that's solid points right there, and consistency is going to be crucial over the course of this 12-race season. As we mentioned, Riegel is taking the place of Hanzik, currently running in P8, and he did actually finish in P8 in the preseason qualifying that was done. So that's how he kind of got his reserve role, was by finishing P8 in the preseason, and that's exactly where he finds himself right now, just ahead of Kostulik. But again, we have been, of course, under this full course yellow since about the second corner, I think, so he hasn't really had any sort of opportunities to try and get that P8 off of Riegel, but There is Dolezal, who again had that fastest lap last time out, started from 4th in this race, currently running in P2. And Sikra is actually getting very close to the back of these guys now. It's about a 10-second gap thereabouts, as we have about 32.5 minutes of racing, plus one final lap, of course. But the Lynx driver closing up to the back of Polesny, who was also involved in that early incident in this race. And I'm sure all of the drivers are going to be looking forward to putting their pedal to the metal and showing this circuit what they've got. Because really, Sikra and Polesny are the only people who have been, you know, turning the wheel in anger, as you'd say. With Schmidl down to Kostulik, those guys have just been kind of swerving around, keeping the tires warm. So it'll be interesting to see if that's had any sort of effect on these guys. But yeah, we're getting really close to the end of this full course yellow, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. And because Jan Sikra has been able to attack these corners in anger, of course, much more recently than everybody else, he will have that little bit of an edge. He'll know at the point where he can brake, whereas everybody else has to kind of find that again. Of course, they've done their practice laps, they've done the qualifying. Of course, they know where it is as far as the previous runs are concerned, but it's very easy to just kind of lose that rhythm and exactly as we said before, consistency is absolutely paramount, especially when you have a track as narrow as that. I mean, even looking on board with Jan Sikra, even I as a spectator was sort of going, oh, that's very, very tight. and from this position, we're in the back seat, so that's absolutely fine for us. But of course, Jan Sikra is able to know he's got back into that rhythm much more recently than everybody else. Everyone else has been at the full course yellow speed for several laps, and there is the rest of the field. So Jan is going to catch up with the field, slow down to their kind of pace, and then at any given moment the full course yellow can release, and then we're going to see who has got themselves in the correct mindset, who is really ready to go.
Yep, as Chris said, the race can be resumed anywhere, so we don't have to wait for them to come back around. As soon as Sikra, prepare for restart, there is the notifications for the drivers who, again, remember, guys, this is a LAN event. All of these guys are in the same building together, so they will be well aware of when this race restart is about to happen. And there you have all 11 cars on your track in green flag racing. Here we go. Michael Schmidl leads. Peter Dolezal, Martin Stefanko already trying to pull alongside on the run down towards the next corner, but no, it doesn't look. In fact, it looks like he's going to come under attack from Blazek up the inside for the Legion car. That's a lovely move to move up onto a podium position for Michael Blazek ahead of Martin Stefanko, the 2017 champion, losing another position, a second position in this race, and we've only had about 60 seconds of racing. Meanwhile, Klebets in P7 is trying to get onto the back of Robin Lucas, but no, it's getting into the very, very tight part of this track.
Yeah, Stefanko was just caught slightly unawares. He probably didn't expect Blazek to throw that Legion car into that gap, and it was brilliantly opportunistic by Michael Blazek to make the most of that particular gap. Peter Dolezal doing his best to hang on to the back of Michael Schmidl, but I think he's having to keep an eye on his rearview mirrors, despite the fact there's no passing opportunity through these very tight, twisty sections. You make a mistake, and there's still enough space and opportunity for someone to pass, as Michael Blazek has rather proven.
Yep, without question. Polesny obviously is going to be keen to try and make up positions from P10, currently in the final of the points-paying positions. He's got that Xiaomi Geek card of Martin Kostulik just ahead in P9, and it does actually seem that Kostulik is being held. Yeah, Rigel is moving very slowly, a 2-second gap between Klebets and Rigel as it stands currently. Oh, and that is, oh man, I hate this hairpin from inside the cockpit. I thought it was bad from the exterior shots. That is absolutely terrifying from inside the car as we're on board with the new runner in P3, Michael Blazek, who's looking at the back of Dolezal, and Schmidl has built a visible gap here, Chris.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds or thereabouts. I imagine he's smiling, not just in his portrait at the bottom, but I imagine he's smiling to himself as well as he's beginning to build the gap. Look, Martin Stefanko, he wants that third place back. He had a look on the inside of the Legion car, and Michael Blazek couldn't quite make the ball. Big mistake as he clips the wall. That's going to lose a lot of momentum. We're not entirely certain what damage it would have caused. He's lost that fourth position to Thomas Prohaska in the Leeds car. Could he lose another one to Robin Lucas? Now look on the inside. Oh my goodness me, that's that's Kostalik that's gotten out of shape as well. And that just goes to show the focus is absolutely paramount, despite the fact that the circuit, they were on straight and still making a little bit of an error. And look how costly that is for Kostalik.
Costly for Kostalik. Yeah, that was really painful. That was unfortunate for him. He's still in this, though. It's all about the mentality. Oh, God. Here goes Hlebets on Lucas, though, up the inside of the right-hander. No, but Lucas just about squeezes him out. But here he goes again on the left-hand side, and it looks like he's actually going to get him a much better exit. And it looks like maybe Lucas just not feeling comfortable with the car. You can see that damage to the windscreen on the Sandisk car. Maybe he's just not feeling that confidence. Hlebets moves up ahead of Lucas into P5, or P6, excuse me, and that's a fantastic move for Hlebets, and big congratulations to him. Meanwhile, Prohaska, as you mentioned, ahead of Stefanko with an incredible opportunistic move, able to get that P4. Martin Stefanko, the 2017 champion. That is very tight for Prohaska there, but Stefanko is, of course, going to be very keen to get that back. The 2017 champion is struggling in this race, down 3 positions from starting on the front row of the grid. Michael Schmidl, meanwhile, starting to break away. Nearly 2 seconds is the gap between himself and Dolezal. Polesny on the attack, on the back of Rigel. Oh, no, and we had some vegetation in the way. Couldn't see exactly what happened, but the Sandisk car is spun around, going backwards on the circuit. Polesny is going to move up into P7 while we're waiting for everything to update. I believe Lucas has been dropped down to P11. No, Polesny's still P8 behind Rigel. Lucas now has been dropped down to P11, and Kostulik's already made up 2 positions after being last not that long ago. This race is hectic.
Oh, Robin Lucas again getting the rough end of the deal. We saw the damage on his car earlier on. I think he actually let Hlebets go as they were climbing the hill. And he's just been spun around. His day is getting from bad to worse. And look at this. That's Martin Stefanko. He wants to get back ahead of the Vodafone car of Thomas Prohaska. Couldn't quite get the move done. He's going to get into the slipstream of the Vodafone car. He's gaining. Is he going to do anything? Has a look, but again, there's no braking zone there. He can't. It would be very unwise to throw it on the inside. Staying right under the rear wing. Jumps out from behind Prohaska. Can he do anything about it? He's ever so slightly gaining, but no. I think it was a little bit of a touch there, and he's touched behind. Oh, problem again for Stefanko. Massive impact for the Republica Gamers Mercedes. He's going to lose a position, and that is disastrous for him.
Oh, no, it is a race to forget for Martin Stefanko. He has got to be absolutely gutted, although not like you could tell from his reaction, because, I mean, this guy is just... he's got the best poker face I've ever seen in my entire life. Look at him just continuing on, just keeps plugging away. Nothing can stop Martin Stefanko. Even a 360 spin on the streets of Macau. He's just going to continue right on racing. And we're back on board with Polesny, who again has caught up to the back of Rigel. Oh, that is a very, very daring move that he was thinking about doing there, but decided he thought better of it. But Polesny does have Kostulik right behind him, Sikora as well, and then a big old gap down to Lucas, who is currently in the pits, unsurprisingly. So it's looking like it might be P11 for Lucas. I do hope he continues on, though, because, of course, you can always gain some extra knowledge about the car. Experience is always useful, so I do hope that he will continue on despite these difficult times for him. Michael Schmidl, meanwhile, has extended that gap at the front to nearly 3 seconds. Michael Blazek currently running about a second behind Peter Dolezal, and Blazek currently running in 3. Prohaska still holding on to that 4th place position despite the best efforts of Martin Stefanko, and Hlebets as well involved in that battle, and Stefanko not far off as well. Here we are once again on board with Polesny. Oh gosh, and it's just every single corner seems like an absolute challenge for these drivers.
Absolutely, and there is our replacement driver for Honzek, Pavel Rigel. And he must be feeling so much pressure from...
He's doing well, you gotta say.
Absolutely he is. I mean, in 7th, right in the middle of the field. So he's improved on his qualifying position, of course. But we've seen from Polesny last time out, the Predator Blue, he qualified 3rd and finished 2nd last time out in Imola. We've seen the pace that he is able to do. And Rigel is doing a pretty good job of defending where he needs to. But, of course, he's a little bit less experienced than some of our drivers. Oh, as soon as I say that, I commentator cursing, he bounces off the wall as they come over the line. That's surely going to give that position to Polesny. He's got on the inside. Oh, big problem again for Regal. He's now going to fall to the bottom of that particular pack. What a shame. He was doing so well. And sadly, he now drops to that 10th position behind Jan Sikora. What a shame for him. Oh, and another slide then for Sikora in that Lynx car. It's going on all over the place.
Nearly 300 kilometers per hour on this circuit. Truly incredible. Kostulik, meanwhile, gained another position thanks to that issue for Regal that sent him to the back of that pack. So Kostulik continues to move back up after dropping down to P11, so now up into P8. Really, if I'm Kostulik at this point, what I'm going to try and do is just follow Polesny. He knows how quick Polesny is. He knows Polesny finished on the podium last time out. He knows that, the Acer Predator car being back there is a fluke. And what I would do is just try and follow his lines, just try and brake where he brakes, just try and keep up with Polesny as he inevitably pulls away, you would expect from these guys. And, no disrespect whatsoever to Sikora, Regal. Again, these guys doing a fantastic job. But Polesny definitely one of the quicker guys this season, at least in this car. And that's one of the great things about this season is that we are going to be using all those different cars. So it'll be fantastic to see how the rest of the season progresses. But meanwhile, we are on board with Dolezal, currently running in P2 behind Michael Schmidl. And you have to say that gap has kind of stabilized, actually. And in fact, Blazek has closed up on Dolezal. So I would say it's not over just yet for the podium positions.
No, indeed. We still have just under 21.5 minutes to go. That's a long time, particularly when you're this close to the barriers for so long. And we've seen how simple mistakes can be so costly already. We've seen how good all of these drivers are. And it is so easy to just put one wheel wrong, just attack a corner a little bit too hard. There's a barrier that's already caused some damage to some of the cars. And yeah, Michael Blazek can see those ahead of him. He knows the distance that he's trying to maintain as Michael Schmidl gets his name on the fastest lap board, which sounds a little bit disingenuous to say that's not a surprise, but he's got no one ahead of him. He's got no one, but equally he's not defending.
Right.
He's not defending particularly hard. Peter Dolezal is about 4 seconds back. He hasn't got to defend his line. Neither does Dolezal over Blazek at the moment, but it doesn't look like it's going to be long. But here, however, Kostulik doesn't have that particular luxury over Jan Sikora as he has a look on the inside of the fast right-hander at the Hotel Mandarin. Doesn't quite get it done at the moment, but that's the kind of pressure that Jan Sikora is able to apply to Martin Kostulik. And Kostulik's got a lot of defense. Oh my goodness me, what a move by Jan Sikora. Can he hold it though? No, a lovely cutback though by Kostulik. He saw what Sikora was going for, was able to maintain the momentum, but they're still side by side, and just about Kostulik manages to maintain that end position. What a brilliant move by Jan Sikora, and a great defense by Martin Kostulik.
Without question, that was fantastic racing between Sikora and Kostulik. Love seeing that stuff. This is a fantastic battle. I hope we get to watch this continue to play out because I am really enjoying that. You can see Regal in the background there, not too far off of Sikora as well, so he could still get back involved in this battle if they start going side by side. He is currently on for a points-paying position, though, and in his first race with this GT3 car, so that should be that would be a great result for Regal if he could pull that off. Let's see if Sikora can make anything happen with Kostulik in this very narrow part of the circuit. I have to imagine that he cannot. And yeah, it doesn't look like he is going to. And into the hairpin they go. Dolezal followed by Blazek, and it looks like Dolezal's actually extended that gap ever so slightly to Blazek. Schmidl similarly doing the same on Dolezal, although no, it's still about 4 seconds more or less. So we're not seeing huge changes. Prohaska has fallen off to about 5 seconds off of Blazek, 5 or 6 seconds or so. There is Sikora and Kostulik making their way through the hairpin, followed by Regal not that far behind. And you could just see that suspension working on the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3 car as they come down the hill and prepare to finish another lap. 18.5 minutes of racing plus one more lap still to go in this Macau Grand Prix, second round for the 2018 Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP. Again, don't forget you can vote for your driver of the day, and you can also play the prediction game as well too on our website. at virtualgp.eu. And big thanks once again to our partners and all of the sponsors. And Kodiak is actually doing a good job of holding off Sikora here. I don't think Sikora is going to be able to mount another attack into the Hotel Lisboa this time. I think Kodiak is going to be safe this time.
Mind you, Jan Sikora really did throw his car on the inside of the Lisboa turn last time around, which did catch Kodiak a little bit by surprise, I think. But he did fight back very nicely. Looking at Thomas Prohaska, one of our new entrants into the Virtual GP, representing the Vodafone company. Currently in fourth with Schlebeck right behind him in the Thrustmaster car. Oh, no sooner do I say that, we just jump back to the Xiaomi Geek Mercedes of Kodiak, and getting a very side-by-side action at a place you really wouldn't expect it through the really tight and twisty Sector 2 of this particular circuit. But again, well fended off. I think there's a little bit less damage on Kodiak's car than there is on Sikora's, so he's able to just maintain that little bit more traction when he needs it. But again, Jan Sikora is not relenting on that pressure whatsoever. He wants to force that mistake because he'd love to throw it on the inside of the hairpin. That's the one place he's not allowed to do it. As previously mentioned, that is under permanent yellow flags. And again, look at that. Sikora is determined to keep his car in very wide in those mirrors. Looking at Michael's middle now, 5-second lead or near enough between himself and Dolezal. He is enjoying being able to control the pace once again. This is what we saw last time out in Imola. What a contrast of circuit, though, that we're seeing. Imola, a fast-flowing circuit, whereas the streets of Macau requires a very high level of precision. It has its fast parts, but you've just got to maintain ultra-high levels of concentration. Not that you've done in Imola, of course, but comparatively, that's a very much easier circuit to drive than the streets of Macau. Yeah, unquestionably. And Stefanko is not out of this race just yet. He's actually closing up on Chlebitz, so we could see Stefanko versus Chlebitz coming up pretty quickly here. We're on board with Martin Stefanko, of course, right now in that Republic of Gamers car. And you can see Chlebitz just ahead of him. And then it's actually a pretty small gap to Prohaska as well. That gap has been pretty stable. I've been keeping my eye on that between Prohaska and Chlebitz. It's been pretty stable at just over a second or so. But now we have Stefanko getting involved as well. Obviously, 2017 champion is Stefanko, so I don't think anybody doubts the pace that he has as a driver. So if I were Chlebitz right now, I would be pretty concerned. And here we go, Sikora and Kodiak, round 2 into the Hotel Lisboa. And later on the brakes is Sikora, and he's able to take that apex. I think he made a little contact with the barrier at the exit of the corner, but he was able to get ahead. Gets that Lynx car up ahead of Kodiak of the Xiaomi Geek car. Sikora up into P8, a decent-sized gap to Polesny up ahead. Again, we mentioned before that Polesny quite a bit quicker than these guys, so he has pulled out that gap as we expected him to. And in fact, he's possibly catching up to Stefanko. I need to keep an eye on that gap because Polesny may be catching up to Stefanko here. There's still battling to go, though, as we come back to this three-way battle of Prohaska, Schlebeck, and Stefanko. Oh, look at that! That is the Alza Gaming Mercedes of Schlebeck ready to pounce on Thomas Prohaska in the Vodafone car. He's really closed that gap down and is really trying to force that mistake, whereas Stefanko is opting just to keep that little bit of a gap. He's obviously in striking range, but you can visibly see that, well, up until the point they break for the hairpin, of course, that Stefanko was a little bit further back. He's not wanting to get involved in the battle between the two ahead of him just yet. He's waiting to see what the outcome of when the Alza Gaming car makes his move, but he's ready to pick up the pieces in case it all goes wrong.
Yeah, and I think Stefanko might get held here by Chlebitz and Prohaska. Again, yeah, that gap between Polesny and Stefanko is definitely coming down. I think Polesny is pumping in some fast laps right now in an effort to try and catch up to the season, to the 2017 season champion, and I think he might be in luck with Stefanko being stuck behind not just Chlebitz, but also Prohaska. And you can see the focus on all of the drivers right there. Oh my gosh, everybody is so focused. Again, you just have to be so alert on this circuit in particular. Macau is completely relentless And the speeds can be so high as well at the end and the start of the lap as well. Again, reaching 300 kph is Chlebets right now on the back of Prohaska. Stefanko's going to be too far back, and I think Chlebets is going to be too far back as well too. The Alza car not quite able to get close enough to the Vodafone car. And if he is going to make that move on Prohaska, he's going to have to do it soon, because Stefanko is going to become more and more of a worry. And I don't know if he knows this, but Polesny is really starting to close in as well, too. So the longer Chlebets waits here to make the move on Prohaska, the more people he's going to have to deal with behind him.
Absolutely. You were actually seeing Polesny in the back of the shot on the longer angles, so he is making up some time pretty quickly. And of course, these guys are slowing each other down whilst Prohaska is having to defend from the car of Schlebeck. So it is all going to come together, I think, in the closing laps. Now looking at Michael Blaszczak in the Legion car, he's still keeping dollars. Whoops! He's trying to push a little bit too hard to try and get the power down into the tarmac. Wow, he's really sliding that car down. Is he wanting to try and close that gap down? It's been around about that 2-second point for quite some time, so he might be looking at the lap time, thinking at the amount of time left rather, and thinking, I haven't got much left, I need to press on, especially if he wants to try and gun after Smittle. Now this pack of 3 is closed in once again, and only 5 seconds down the road is Polesny, so this trio could become a quartet very, very soon.
I mean, when they come into this hairpin, it looks like they're just heading straight for an accident every single lap. It's a heart and mouth moment for me every single time we're on board into that hairpin. But on board with Stefanko right now, this is the man who is in the pound seat. We want to see if he can make up any positions after a disappointing race in Imola. What can Martin Stefanko do? I think probably 4th is as good as it's going to get, with just under 11.5 minutes of racing still to go, plus one more lap after that final second ticks over. They'll have one more lap to complete. And yeah, we're, as I mentioned, on board with Stefanko as we start yet another lap through the high-speed left-hander. Barely a lift, it sounded like, maybe at the exit, up into 6th gear. And again, approaching 300 kph on the run down towards Hotel Lisboa. Here's the slight right-hander. Chlebets is really closing in on Prohaska here. We might see a move from the Alza car up the inside into Hotel Lisboa. Is he going to try for it? No, it looks like Prohaska late enough on the brakes just to keep Chlebets behind. And surprisingly enough, it is Chlebets who's going on the attack here and not Stefanko.
Indeed, once again, Klebeck keeping the pressure on Prohaska. He's making sure that Prohaska is well aware of that black and green car in his mirrors. He needs to keep that pressure. Oh, and there you go. You see the Vodafone car just bounce off the wall. It's going to lose some momentum, but that is not a place where Schlebeck can use that momentum, and that's going to bring Stefanko right back in it. He's looking for a mistake from these two to be very, very costly, and then going to capitalize on an easy pass with the pair of them. Now again, not meaning that to sound disingenuous, but from his position, he's basically watching Schlebeck pile on the pressure, and he's waiting for something to crack. Let's just hope for Stefanko's, let's hope from his angle that he's not caught up in any kind of accident that may ensue.
Yeah, he's going to have to be careful that if there is some sort of coming together that he doesn't get involved. We did see in the 2017 real Macau Grand Prix that there was quite a pileup just due to, you know, a small contact. So, and that's the nature of the circuit. That's how it works. So if they do end up coming together, he is going to have to really be on it and be quick with his reaction times in order to avoid that. Here we go once again into the worst part of the circuit. Oh, no! Oh! You can't overtake there. That is not allowed, Mr. Chlebets. And Prohaska, I think, had a little bit of a head shake there. And yeah, he's wiping a bit of sweat off his brow as well. I would be sweating as well. And again, Polesny continues to get closer to this battle. There he is. There is the Acer Predator blue car of Wojtek Polesny closing in. Just 3 seconds now is the gap between himself and Martin Stefanko. This three-way battle for 4th position is going to quickly become a 4-way battle if these guys aren't careful. And Stefanko, I think, really is the one that needs to make an overtake here, because he's the one, if he wants to be involved in that title fight with Michael Schmidt, who again, currently sitting on 25 points, the current 2018 championship leader. Stefanko is going to have to minimize the amount of points that he's going to lose to Michael Schmidl here in Macau today. And it looks like Klebets is not going to be close enough to Prohaska to make anything happen. We can't see in the rear view if Stefanko is closing up at all on the Alza Gaming car. No, it doesn't look like it. He's several car lengths back as they make their way into Hotel Lisboa once again.
Now, we don't know what damage that impact caused to Schlebek's car. Now, of course, that was a frontal impact for Schlebek. It was simply a side door impact for Prohaska, so that is more than likely going to impact, as far as performance is concerned, the Alza Gaming car. There is Stefanko having a look, but again, there was no space to do it. But that could well mean that the Alza Gaming car can no longer keep up, or can't keep up as well, with the Vodafone car unless Prohaska makes a mistake. And that is more what Schlebek is now going to be relying on, especially now he's given himself that bit of damage through no particular fault of his own. Of course, Prohaska made that mistake into the hairpin, and I don't really think Schlebek could have really avoided it. It's just, unfortunately enough, that it was caused damage in a way that could well impact the performance of his car, and Martin Stefanko will no doubt have noticed that and be quite ready to pounce on any potential mistake, but they are running out of time. 7.5 minutes, there's not many laps left.
Yep, it's about 2 minutes 20 was the lap time in qualifying, a little bit over 140 seconds to complete a lap of this Macau circuit. Oh, you can see some more contact with the barrier for Thomas Prohaska. Hlevitz really not able to gain any time as a result of that, but I mean, every little contact with the barrier could be bringing more and more damage as Polesny continues to close in on this three-way battle for fourth position into the hairpin. Once again we go. Ooh. And a very interesting line there for Prohaska. Could be damage potentially that's messing up his line there. You can see Polesny again just getting closer and closer to Stefanko. Hlevitz seems to have fallen off the back actually, coming out of that Melco hairpin. He's definitely lost some time to the Vodafone car up ahead. Let's see if that's going to lose him any time to the Republic of Gamers car behind it is, in fact, as Martin Stefanko moves alongside Hlevitz on the run down towards the right-hander. And it looks like with the inside line, the 2017 champion is going to move up into P5. So that is a double-digit points-paying position now for Martin Stefanko, and he needs to turn his focus now towards Thomas Prohaska. Again, it is all about damage limitation for our reigning Virtual GP champion. In fact, though, he is going to have to defend from Hlevitz. Here he comes around the left-hand side. He'll have to go around the outside of this very fast right-hander, and it looks like he's done that. Oh, heavy contact with the barrier for Hlevitz. Here comes Stefanko, though, in the slipstream on the run down towards Hotel Lisboa. Looks like the Alza car is going to go defensive inside line for him. Republic of Gamers car, Martin Stefanko around the outside. That is a lovely move to say, that is my position. Mr. Hlevitz, that is my position. He takes the P5 right at the most important part of the circuit because it is so difficult to pass now. Incredible racing there between Martin Stefanko and Mr. Hlevitz. That was great stuff. Love that.
That was a very brave move from the champion then. He trusted the fact that he could get the car around without having Schlebek trying to join him in his own car. But of course, that's brought Polesny right in there with that absolutely monumental impact that Schlebek had with the wall. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he just has too much damage on that car to be able to keep up. Already he's lost nearly half a second. 1.5 seconds off the back of Stefanko. He's doing his best to keep Polesny behind him. It's a pretty clean car from the Predator Blue, or certainly comparatively so, in comparison to the Alza car. So it does look like that Schlebek's going to have a very hard time, if not impossible time, to maintain that 6th position. And Stefanko now already after Thomas Prohaska to gain another position. But it does look like the top 3 are pretty comfortable at the moment, and I don't think Schlebek can say the same.
Yeah, I think Stefanko's got his groove back after making that overtake because he's already pulled out a 2-second gap, as you said, and already is just straight onto the back of Thomas Prohaska. So I think Stefanko is hungry for that P4 as they make their way down the hill once again. I love that shot. I don't know why. Polesny on the back of Hlevitz as we come to the end of yet another lap. Is he going to be able to make anything happen? This is, of course, a very important corner, this right-hander here. Oh, it looks like both of them, in fact, making contact with the inside barrier, a bit of contact with the outside barrier as well for Polesny as he catches a bit of slipstream here off of Hlevitz, and they're going to be running down towards the start-finish line in just a moment here. And there is Stefanko already past Thomas Prohaska. He is a man on a mission right now. Martin Stefanko, you can see the focus on him, and Polesny is past Hlebets as well. Hlebets is going to come back at him. The exact same thing that he did to Martin Stefanko on the lap previous. Here he comes now with the inside line, but no, he's not quite alongside. He's not going to be able to get that line alongside the Acer Predator blue car through that fast right-hander, and he's not going to be late enough on the brakes, I don't think. And Polesny is up into 6th position, and now he's going to turn his focus to Prohaska. This is so painful for Prohaska and Hlebets. They did such a great job to get that P4 and P5 in this race, and it's just all coming to an end here at the end as Stefanko and Polesny just charge their way through the field. Meanwhile, Blazek and Dolezhel not that far off, but yeah, Blazek with a couple of seconds off, so I don't think we're going to see that Legion car making a move for P2 in the closing stages of this lap, or in the closing stages of this race, excuse me. 3 minutes remaining, plus 1 race. There's your race leader and current championship leader, Michael Schmidl, as well, and I do believe he's actually on for 26 points with his current fastest lap.
Indeed, that is correct. It is unraveling pretty quickly for Schlebeck then, as he's now down to 7th, and Jan Sikora was not too far back, and the amount of pace that Alza Gaming car has lost, it wouldn't be at all surprised if Jan Sikora was able to close that down. There is Dolezhel. He's been in that 2nd position pretty much all race long, as he now comes down towards the hairpin. May well gain a bit of time on Schmidl during the braking, but Schmidl with 8 seconds or so to the lead. He can pretty much not quite coast to the end, but he doesn't have to push, and that extra level of comfort is going to be crucial for Schmidl to keep his car out of the wall. So many incidents we've seen already this race, as it's absolutely flown by. Despite the fact we had a full course yellow for so long, the drivers have certainly made up for it since the yellow flags went away.
Yep, and again, just a reminder, everybody, to vote for your driver of the day, and I'm saying that with Dolezhel on your screen for a reason, because I gotta say, he's probably my driver of the day, despite the 7-second gap between himself and the current championship leader. Again, Dolezhel has really showed what he's got with a 4th place finish in Imola with the fastest lap, 13 points. He's going to be on for 18. That's going to bring his total to 31 points. I do believe he is going to be 2nd in the championship if my quick maths are correct. But here we go, Polesny versus Prohaska once again. Minute and a half remaining in this race, plus 1 more lap after that. Polesny is definitely closing in on Prohaska. Through the fast right-hander they go. And I don't think he's going to be close enough on the way into Hotel Lisboa on this particular occasion. Yeah, it looks like he's a few car lengths back on Prohaska at the moment for that P5. He does get very close under braking, closes that gap down to about half a car length or so. So he is going to be right on the back of that Vodafone car all the way through this tight and twisty part of the track. But he will have, I believe, 1, maybe 2 more laps in this race. It really depends where Michael Schmidl is in 45 seconds time, whether he's started another lap or if he's still on this current one. It's not a massive gap from Polesny up to Schmidl, though, so I think the next lap might be the last one. We'll have to keep an eye on that, though. Oh, we're actually on board with Schmidl right now. 30 seconds remaining. Yeah, I think this might be the penultimate lap.
I think so. Just looking where he is, he's not got enough time to beat the flag. So when Michael Schmidl crosses the line once again, yeah, he's coming through the hairpins. He's not long started this particular lap. There he is, once again unchallenged at the lead of this race. However, Prohaska is under a lot of challenge by the Predator Blue of Polesny, who gets the tail of that car to come out. That's not quite what he's looking for, but he is doing his best behind the Vodafone car of Thomas Prohaska. Well, again, the tail coming out for Polesny. He is pushing as hard as he can, and part of it is to keep up with Thomas Prohaska. He's done a pretty good job on a very difficult circuit, bearing in mind he is a rookie to this season. So he's doing a pretty good job to maintain his position. There we go. Michael Schmidl to start the final lap. There it is, confirmation at the top of the screen. You can see him in the bottom left of the screen there. That empty seat next to him, that's not someone that's quit. That's because we have 11 drivers and there's still 12 seats, of course, in the land centre they do the races in. Here is Polesny once again. He's fallen back a little bit from Prohaska, but now is the time. He's got to press on, get in that slipstream. There you see Stefanko. That's the gap that the current champion has managed to build up for himself. So he looks pretty set for fourth position, unless, of course, he comes and makes a major mistake and it all comes undone for him. There it is, on board with Polesny. He is closing in on Prohaska. Can he do anything about it? As they come through the last turn before the hairpin, before the Helter Lisboa. Now jumps out towards the inside. Can he get it done? We saw Prohaska just tap the wall a little bit. Who's going to be brave on the brakes? Polesny's nose ahead, but can Prohaska attack back? He can. Polesny bounce off the wall, but no, Prohaska can't do it. That is a 5th position for Polesny.
Wow, fantastically done. Well done to both drivers. I was very concerned, you know, when you have some last lap desperation at Macau. Oh, that's a very strange line for Polesny. He's going to have to be really careful with that. I know that these aren't really overtaking corners, but that doesn't mean Prohaska won't try if he sees an opportunity. Meanwhile, Sikora has closed right up to the back of Chlebets. You called that one, Chris. Holy cow. Sikora less than half a second off of Chlebets, so Chlebets might fall even further down the field after what was a fantastic race. It was looking like he was going to get P5 at one point. Now it looks like he might drop down to P8 potentially. Here is Michael Schmidl making his way through the hairpin for the final time in this race, and it's looking like it's going to be a pretty comfortable victory for him, possibly due to Stefanko's early race woes, which lost him a number of positions. Incredible fight back, though, from our 2017 champion, back up into 4th position. He's not going to be able to get onto the podium this time. Nope, those honors are indeed going to go to Michael Schmidl, Peter Dolezal, and Michael Blazek. That is going to be your rostrum for this Macau Grand Prix, as, again, Michael Schmidl making his way to the start-finish line. Through the final right-hander he goes, and it's a short sprint of the V8 from the AMG GT3 car. The Mercedes-Benz crosses the line, and that is another victory for Michael Schmidl. Another notch on his belt, and again, a fantastic drive for Dolezal and Blazek. These are not really guys who we were seeing for challenging for podiums last year in 2017. And we can see just how much more competitive this season is as Martin Stefanko crosses the line in 4th position. Polesny with an incredible fight back. Oh, in the background there, it looks like Sikora and Chlebets have not stopped racing. Nope, but it looks like Chlebets is going to hold on to that P7. Well held by Chlebets. A fantastic drive for him to come home in that P7. And yeah, well deserved for him, but a fantastic race for Schmidl, Dolezal, and Blazek. A great fight back for Stefanko and Polesny. Disappointment for Prohaska, Chlebets, Sikora, Kostulik, Rigel, and Lucas. Really, I think all of those guys were really hoping to be more involved with the higher up battles. And the really interesting thing here, Chris, is I really think everybody could have been. You know, there was some good luck, some bad luck. That's what happens when you gamble in Macau, though.
Absolutely, and a track like this at Macau and the likes of Monaco, they are very unforgiving to any mistakes that occur. So I'm sure the drivers are pretty tired, pretty exhausted after that incredible one. But what a race yet again by our drivers. Wonderful to see.
And here are the final classifications. Michael Schmidl in the end, 7.9 seconds ahead, and with fastest lap as well, ahead of Dolezal in the Seco Plus car. The Lenovo Legion car of Michael Blazek coming home in the final podium position ahead of Stefanko, Polesny, Prohaska, Chlebets, Sikora, Kostulik, Rigel, and Lucas is your final 11 drivers. And again, Michael Schmidl leading the championship with 51 points after picking up that fastest lap. And as I mentioned, Peter Dolezal second in the championship, just 1 point ahead of Blazek, who is 2 points ahead of Polesny. Martin Stefanko way down in 5th position with just 14 points.
I think it's great for me, but not for my teammate. Obviously, I had a bad start, so then I went to the inside, to the first corner, and afterwards there was a full course yellow, which was really boring, and I was just trying to push as much as I can after the restart, but then I tried to avoid the walls, and yeah, it was quite an easy win. It was my first time, racing on this track, so it was really difficult to learn, especially the optimal line on the circuit. But we had a good setup, so it was easy in the race.
The race was great. I was very lucky in the first lap before the yellow phase, because I get to the second place, which was great. And then after the restart, I was defending Michael Blažek, and I did it to finish, so I'm happy for the second place. We weren't so close as on Imola, but it was hard to maintain the gap or make it bigger, which I did, so I was successful.
He said it was a great race. It's almost like a miracle to make it from P7 to P3 when you were racing on a city track. You all saw what happened at the beginning, and I simply used that opportunity. But then after the full course yellow, I've also passed Martin Stefanko, and that was it. And there is your podium with Michael Blažek coming on, and what a fantastic race it was. Just really, really well-deserved. Dolezal as well coming home in second position. A fantastic, he's got to be my driver of the day. But again, there is your winner, Michael Schmidl. Thank you so much for joining me, Chris, and everybody, we will see you next time for the third round of the 2018 Virtual GP season.